I thought I would give you a little update. So I am now 23 weeks and 5 days, and I'm actually sat outside my first ever pregnancy yoga class. So I've been invited along by Pregnancy and Parenthood, who are a pregnancy and parenting kind of well-being and care centre. They provide various different classes from yoga, like I'm about to do, but also baby yoga, so you can then have classes with your baby when it's arrived. They do pregnancy massage, they do health MOTs with physiotherapists, and it's also a great place to come along for general support and well-being support, and if you need help with like breastfeeding or all those kind of things. It's just a bit of a support hub, really. So far throughout my pregnancy, I've actually not been too bad. The only thing I've been suffering with has been my back and my pelvis, which I've previously talked about. So as it stands, I have sciatica, and due to the sciatica and how I was holding myself, I've then managed to twist my pelvis, which sounds horrific. It is painful, but physically you can't see it. You know, my leg isn't facing the wrong way or anything like that. So far I've managed to twist my pelvis back with the help of physio at the hospital, which I was referred by my midwife, and they've been absolutely fantastic. They've been seeing me every 2 weeks, really keeping an eye on me. And my pubic bone have also misplaced. So I mean, you learn all sorts of things about your body when you are pregnant, but I didn't realise your pubic bone actually has two bits, a bit like that, and they join together. But as it stands, like, I have one bit that's slightly forward than the other, so they have to try and kind of manoeuvre it so they're back in place. So things like this, I'm really hoping are going to keep me fit and active. And they're also going to teach you different breathing techniques, and that's my expectation of the course anyway. But I'll soon give you an update as to what we go through, what it's like. I'm actually really nervous because there are 2 types of pregnancy yoga you can do. There's the early pregnancy, or the 3 types, sorry. Early pregnancy, late pregnancy, and a combined class. I'm already signed up to do... Ooh! Try again. I'm already signed up to do the late pregnancy yoga. However, I really then wanted to do the early pregnancy yoga because of all these kind of movement issues that I've had. But due to going to New York and things like that, just the dates and the times just didn't sit right. And I was actually going to miss quite a few sessions if I booked into that. So instead, I've actually come along and travelled a bit further afield to Hethersett in Norwich, to a place called Rowan House, which is like their main hub centre, and it's their combined early and late pregnancy yoga. I've already spoken to Debbie, who is the kind of the leader, the practitioner, and she's been absolutely fantastic with advice and being, you know, right on hand for me, and said to her, you know, is it okay? Is it the right class for me? And she's assured me I'm not going to miss anything by going straight into this combined one and then doing the late one, rather than doing an early and a late pregnancy one. But I feel like a new kid going to school, because what if they all know each other from previous courses or something, and I've got no friends here? But we'll see. And there's also what to wear. I suddenly noticed on the email this morning that, oh, you need to be wearing comfy clothes. So I've managed to kind of basically dig out some kind of jogging bottoms, but are basically my comfies at home. And don't get me wrong, it was lovely getting changed as I was leaving work at like 5:15 straight into my comfies, which is what I would have put on when I got home anyway, and shoving a coat on over the top. But I didn't then think about my shoes, so I've then got my work boots straight on with my tracksuit bottom. So I'm gonna look a proper proper sight when I first go in there tonight. But I'll take you with me. I don't know what I'll be able to film, and then I'll give you an update as to how it was and what it's like when I come out. Well, home now. Excuse now the really tired face after all that. That was that was amazing. That was brilliant. It lived up to more than what I hoped I would get from it, I think. I think it's about 6 weeks course, so this was only our first week. It's a lot more anatomy driven than I expected, but that's actually really, really good, because I honestly believe that knowledge is power. And I think Debbie, the instructor, is really going to give me that. And that works particularly well for me. If I understand why something is happening, then I can get to grips with it a lot more. We also did focus on breathing and things, and how to keep calm, to then aid a great delivery, really, as well as kind of keeping up with different movements to aid mobility, but also kind of focusing on different muscle groups, because Debbie really took us through exactly what is happening to our body at this time, and I don't think I really appreciated the pressure and the changes that it's going through, and the impact that has not only on muscles from like before, but during your pregnancy and after. So things like pelvic floor, but also your stomach muscles, how they separate, how certain things that we can do can actually then keep them separated. So if we're not careful in how we're getting up, if we're putting too much pressure on our stomachs, and just simple adjustments that you can make, that will then mean after the baby is a lot easier to repair and kind of get back to normal, really. Some of the things that Debbie talks about, she's very blunt, very to the point, which actually I think you need. But anyone who knows me probably can imagine my face when Debbie was talking about things like vaginas, and the fact that their sole purpose is they have two purposes in life, and they are for pleasure and for birthing, and basically we need to do our pelvic floor for both of those benefits. But yeah, anyone who knows me can imagine my face when you talk about things like that. But she's, yeah, phenomenal. We talked about breathing, and I came away feeling so relaxed. And if that's all that can happen after one kind of session, then after 6 and ultimately after 12, when I do my second batch, my second block with her, that's amazing. And how a lot of people share negative birthing stories, which they happen. I'm not discrediting them. They happen, and I've talked about this kind of subject before. But that kind of thing then breeds fear. Fear of the unknown, fear of pain, fear of not being able to do it. And when you're fearful and scared, you tense up, and your body is just not working how it should at times of labour, really, not to its optimum. So Debbie is helping to do positions so we can actually help get the baby in an optimum position to be birthed as easily as possible. You've got to, especially if you're lying on your back, the baby will actually have to come down the birthing canal, and then kind of come up a slope, which you can imagine that's really tough. Whereas certain positions that you're in can actually allow for the baby to come down easier and more naturally. And it's also how to get a baby in an optimal position, because potentially they could be breached and things like that. But ultimately, she was also talking us through, and we'll learn more about these in future weeks, and this is something that really stuck with me, and perhaps it was just because it was right at the end. And we were doing our kind of breathing exercises and relaxation at the time. But she talked about how during labour, our midwives will talk to us about things like how many centimetres dilated you are. So for those who don't know, your ultimate aim is to get to 10 centimetres dilated. That is what you're aiming for. 10 centimetres is then when you're fully ready to, your cervix is as wide as it can go to then allow the baby to come out. So that is what you're hoping for. And that it can be quite, for women, like, it can be quite demoralising and demotivating and frustrating that if they've been in labour for a certain period of time, and for them they feel like they've been trying their absolute best, or potentially maybe feeling quite uncomfortable to then be examined by a midwife and be told that you're perhaps only between 4 and 7 centimetres dilated. Could be quite demoralising. So Debbie kind of talks you through the fact that those figures will be said to you, those things will happen, and that is how the midwife is communicating with you, and that's absolutely fine. But actually, to a certain degree, you just need to take that on board and kind of deregister it at the back of, all right, okay, that's fine, but it doesn't matter, because you need to appreciate exactly what your body has been doing. So you've been growing a human, you've been housing a human for 9 months. That's incredible. That's really amazing. So appreciate what your body has done so far. This is a transitioning stage from housing the human to bringing a new life into the world, which again is absolutely incredible. How many other people can say that they're, you know, that is an amazing thing to be able to do. So this transitioning phase is actually really exciting. Really, really exciting, because you're about to meet your new son or daughter. So regardless of that, you know, taking place over a couple of hours, which it might be for some people that might be days. So just enjoy, try and bottle like the little fizz of excitement that you're about to meet your new little human. And this is just a transitioning phase. So whether that midwife says, oh, you're 4, you're 5, you're 9 centimetres, okay, we're still in the transitioning stage. Either way, it does not matter. And your body is a muscle, and well, there's a lot of other things as well, but ultimately labour is a muscle in itself. It's an action of a muscle where it is pulsating to get and kind of aid a body being pushed out of yours, essentially. That is what labour is. So work with the pulses, as we will now call them, rather than contractions and pain and all these other words with negative connotations. So in that transitioning phase, you've just got to work with your body and let it continue to do its magic like it has been doing for the last 9 months, and work with it. And if you can focus on your breathing, certain breathing techniques can open up diaphragms and different muscle groups and keep you calm. The more panicked you are, the more likely you're going to go into like fight and flight mode, which then makes you clam up. You're working against your body's pulsating, you're trying to stop it, you're getting more and more anxious, which then makes your body even more tighter, and in that you've then got a little human who's also getting more anxious and uptight, and potentially you can make the whole transitioning period last a lot longer than it needs to. Whereas if we could just relax, appreciate what our body has done, appreciate what our body is then doing to bring a new life into the world, which is just incredible. Focus on ourselves, focus on our breathing, and centre on that, and understand exactly what our body is doing at these set points, then magic can happen. And essentially that is kind of what Debbie's working towards, and what Debbie has been, and what Debbie will do over the next 6 weeks. But in that are also these yoga positions that we can be doing to target certain muscle groups that might be tight because of pregnancy, and that might then hinder potentially the transitioning process later on, but also train some different muscle groups that can then help us in the transitioning period, and also keep our mobility flexible, and try and reduce the amount of discomfort that perhaps pregnancy can bring, like I'm going through. But all in all, that was amazing. Loved it. There were people there who'd been to the other groups, but they were absolutely fine. They're really nice, warm and welcome. There was quite a few new mums there, first time mums, all like me as well. And there were a couple of people there who've had like second, even third babies. And some people had even moved to the area, so I was feeling nervous. They didn't even know the area, they know no one. And there was 2 of them like that, and they'd come. So that, you know, we're all in this together, and people are swapping different stories. So yeah, it's really, really good, and I'm really looking forward to next week. I'm now going to go inside, have some tea, because I'm starving. And I'm actually going to have a cup of tea, and this is a new revelation this week. I actually it was my sister-in-law Claire who mentioned it weeks and weeks and weeks ago, and then I completely forgot all about it until I went in Tesco's, actually with my other sister-in-law this weekend, of Claire had mentioned, or perhaps to try decaf tea, because tea was still making me feel really, really sick, and it tasted metally, is all I could really describe it as. Or you know when you buy a cup of tea and it's in a polystyrene cup and it's from like one of them burger vans, no disrespect to burger vans, but you never get a decent cup of tea from one of them, and like the water tastes empty. That's the only way I can describe it. It just tastes foul, or like fishy water. Fishy water, that's the best explanation. It always tasted like I was drinking water that had been drained out of a tuna tin. It tasted awful, and it then made me feel sick, and it's actually made me be sick once. Although that could have been something else, but I just had a tea, so I'd associate with that. However, I did pick up some decaf tea bags when I went to Tesco's with Gemma the other day, and I've since had two cups of tea, which is incredible. Admittedly, I've only finished one. The other one was only a half, so it's all still very early days. And I have to be a bit careful. I tried one first thing in the morning the other day, and that was a bit... ugh. I think I need to have something in my stomach. I can't do it on an empty stomach yet like it used to. And it still doesn't taste exactly like it used to. But it tastes a lot more like it. So yeah, I'm now going to go inside. We've got lasagna for tea. I'm hoping Mark's put it on. All he has to do is put it in the oven, so we can hope. So we're going to have some lasagna, and I'll then have a cup of tea and a shortbread biscuit. And that will be my evening. I'm already in my cozies, so I'm well away to go. But thank you, Debbie. Oh, and then the other thing, obviously we were relaxing and doing breathing exercises to different music, and it actually got me thinking I might actually create myself a playlist to then practice my breathing and things too, and potentially I could then use that as I'm going to go into labour to perhaps try and, like, don't people roll your eyes, I'm not being hippie, but like connect with, like, if it's something that can perhaps centre me into positive thinking and positive like a routine almost, I'm thinking that might be quite good. So actually I might do that this week. I might pick out some different songs perhaps I can then practice and breathing to. I'm waffling and talking to myself. I'm gonna go now, and that's about it. But I'll catch up with you soon. Remember to hit like and subscribe and do all those wonderful things if you want to carry on catching up with my pregnancy journey. But if not, I will see you again soon. I will leave all the details of Pregnancy and Parenthood and Debbie's Babyfit details for the pregnancy yoga. I'll also link to a video that I did with them previously when they first invited me along. So in there you'll actually meet Debbie, because I have met Debbie before for that video. So you'll actually then be able to picture who I'm talking about. And Debbie will also then talk about her yoga stuff as well. But yeah, that's it for now, and I'll catch up with you again soon. Bye!